Hey everybody, it's July the 26th, and I wanted to give a update on the garden. Right now it's late summer, I guess, or we've got maybe a month left or so of our growing season. So I thought I'd show you guys how things fared over here the last couple months after we had planted on our land. And there's mixed news. Potatoes turned out really good. This is our second potato bed that we planted right here behind me. And to give some scale, I've got some of these plants up over my knee now. So the potatoes over here, they were russet Burbank potatoes, and they took off really well. They're growing well for us using this Ruth Stoke method of growing. I've been away a week now. My son and I were on some vacation together, and there was very little rain for the past week. And when I checked underneath this straw, it's still really wet down in here. You can see from that. So I think the straw is retaining the moisture really well. I may not have to do a whole lot of watering this month coming up. We had some rain, more than what we were having in the spring, and we've got another week of rain I think coming up here this week. So things are looking good that way. Unfortunately, things still aren't good with the flies. And my son and I were over here earlier today. We planned to do a video on this garden together, but the flies are so bad, he didn't want to operate the camera there, and I don't blame him. It's pretty tough for a 6-year-old to be out in this, but they're eating me alive. Anyways, I'll show you this garden here. I'm trying to think now what we had planted. I think there were about 200 potatoes in all, was it, or 100? I'd have to go back on my videos and look. But between this garden and the one over here, that was about half of the batch of potato. And then the first garden we planted was in behind, so I'll go over and show you that in a minute. That one's growing the best, just where it was the earliest. So no problem at all with the potatoes. Unfortunately though, the Jerusalem artichoke that we planted, I was really hoping that would take off because it's a perennial. And once that stuff gets established, it should grow back here year after year without me having to do much. But I think I put the straw down too thick over the artichoke, and the only thing that seems to have come up through the straw is what was already existing around here that I had tried to weed out when I tilled over this soil. So we have some tree roots and stuff getting reestablished in that bed over there. There's some raspberry plants getting reestablished. And I don't know, we're going to look today and see if we can see if anything for what was artichoke is growing over there. There's 1 or 2 plants I haven't identified, so it might be something. The only other thing there is that I found a hornet's nest in under the straw, and so I have to also watch that today, that I don't get stung a bunch here on my video. So I'll take you for a quick tour. That was it. I didn't want to do a whole lot of talking today. So again, the flies are horrible. That means 8 months out of the year so far, from January to August, it's not very pleasant around this place. It's either cold and snowy in wintertime, or the flies are so bad that you don't want to be in the woods. But anyways, this is one garden, and hopefully people who grow potatoes can tell me just how well these are doing for this time of year around here. Because this is my first year growing them. This was the last garden I planted here, and plants are maybe just getting up to my knee height over here, but everything's growing well and healthy and green, and I don't think there's any pests back here. Maybe because this is not traditionally, or at least for many years, hasn't been an agricultural area. And I do have some nice raspberries growing well all over the property. This was the first garden that was planted here, and these ones are, if I can get in here without doing too much damage, these ones are coming up over my knee now. And I think they probably have another month or so to grow before harvest, so doing well. And then lastly over here, this was the artichoke garden. And again, this doesn't look very good at all. These are like raspberry coming up here. The only thing I don't know for sure is out there, and I think we're going to walk out here to the center today and just tear up some of this straw. And if anything, it might be a learning thing for people who want to grow artichokes. Obviously, what I did here with this straw, with the depth of it, we'll go down here for a second, it was still too much. A few inches of this hay seemed to have choked out what I wanted to grow. Now, I did come along a few weeks ago. I noticed that these things weren't doing well, And I came along here and I tried to pull back some of the straw in areas. I don't know if I got the whole garden, but I pulled back some of it to try to stimulate these things to grow, and it just doesn't seem to have worked. Here's one of the artichoke pieces there, you can see, and that one didn't come up and do anything. And I'm just going to check this strange looking plant over here. It could just be a weed. If I get into the base, yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with it. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like any of my artichoke tubers grew. And that's a real loss. My friend tore those out of her garden there this year and was hoping that I would keep those alive for us so that next year we could give some back to her. But it's not looking good. I think I failed on this part of the project, but I succeeded on my potatoes, so mixed bag of tricks, but that's okay. We're having some success over here. Animals aren't eating the potatoes and they're growing well, so at least I know for next summer I can plant potato gardens and those will do okay for me. So that's everything for today. Thanks for watching.